Air Force One just landing in Warsaw, Poland, after President Biden made a surprise visit to Kyiv, Ukraine, becoming the only president in modern history to visit a war zone without the support of the U.S. military in close proximity. Russia's war in Ukraine just 4 days away from reaching the one-year mark. Thousands of people have been killed. Even more have fled the country, with no end to this war in sight. And President Biden making that surprise visit today as air raid sirens were blasting as he and President Volodymyr Zelensky walked side by side in Kyiv. Journalist Philip Crowther is live for us there in Kyiv. Philip, what is the security like in the area now that the president has left?
Well, I would tell you that things are somewhat back to normal, but that's a very relative term, of course. In wartime Kyiv, there's a curfew in place right now every night between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. No people on the streets here in the Ukrainian capital, no cars either. And that is essentially what it was like during President Biden's visit here earlier in the morning. Independence Square, you can see it behind me, that was completely closed to traffic for a half hour. Chrestiatic Street, that is the main thoroughfare through Kyiv as well. That is a very rare occurrence for that also to be closed to traffic. So something was happening. The people of Kyiv were aware of that. We saw video of a very large motorcade. And of course, there was that possibility that U.S. President Joe Biden was going to make his way to Ukraine somehow on his way to Poland. Was it going to be in Western Ukraine or here in the capital? There was a lot of speculation about that in the end. Well, this is quite the momentous trip from Joe Biden to the capital. After all, it takes a long time and a lot of difficult logistics to get here, a 10-hour train journey included. And that was part of the tighter security than usual for a presidential trip, to get Joe Biden here on the ground. That tight security already in place for a motorcade to Joint Base Andrews on the outskirts of Washington, D.C., but then also for the flight to Rzeszów, that is just outside of Ukraine on the Polish side of the border, then a 10-hour train journey, and then that motorcade that we witnessed here in Kyiv earlier today. It was an extraordinary logistical thing for the White House to pull off, but it did.
Absolutely. And Philip, what about the reaction from civilians there on the ground? I mean, a sitting president in a very active war zone.
Yeah, it's risky, but it's obviously been taken up very, very positively by people here. People here happy that Joe Biden made it here and very proud that they were able to pull this off, that they were able to, almost 1 year into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have a sitting U.S. president visiting their capital. Because remember, there's another president who wanted to walk these streets quite literally earlier, and that was Russian President Vladimir Putin. He thought he was going to be able to get control of Kyiv within days of the invasion he started almost a year ago. He never got that opportunity, and he was, in a sense, beaten to the place by Joe Biden earlier today. So there's a lot of pride here that this was possible, especially on this day, because this is the day where Ukraine remembers the fallen of the Maidan revolution. That was in 2014, a pro-European, anti-Russian revolution, if you will, that also started the conflict in the East and the pro-Russian invasion. But more importantly, we are now only 3 days away here in local time from the anniversary of Russia's invasion. And there are fears here that there could be a massive missile attack on the likes of the capital, but also the rest of Ukraine, to coincide with that anniversary.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.